Will begin at the sound of a trumpet. 7 angels will have 7 mighty trumpets that release disasters upon the world. You see, at the very first trumpet blast, hail and fire mixed with blood will rain down on the earth. 1/3 of all the grass and all the trees will be completely burnt up, leaving behind a partly scorched earth. On the second trumpet blast, something like a burning mountain was thrown into the sea. 1/3 of all the oceans will become like blood, and 1/3 of all living creatures in the sea will die. You see, the ocean will become completely desolate, leaving 1/3 of all ships utterly destroyed. This leads us to the third trumpet. When a great star falls down from heaven, its was wormwood, and as it falls onto 1/3 of all rivers and all springs, 1/3 of water becomes poisonous, leading to mass dehydration. And then the fourth trumpet sounds. 1/3 of the sun, the moon, the stars are struck, causing partial darkness during the day and pitch black darkness during the night. And then the fifth trumpet sounds, and this fallen angel is given this key which opens up the bottomless pit. And when he does, this toxic black smoke comes rushing out of this hole, darkening the sun and the sky. You see, then these locusts will emerge from the smoke with scorpion-like powers, and they will be commanded to torment anybody who doesn't have the seal of God. You see, this torment is described to be like the sting of a scorpion, except the pain lasts for 5 months. In those days, people will seek death, but it shall not be done to them. Once the sixth angel sounds, the release of 4 angels bound under the river Euphrates. These angels will lead a ridiculous army, killing 1/3 of mankind. This army will have 200 million soldiers. Then the last trumpet sound, a voice will proclaim from the very moment the whole earth is part of the kingdom of heaven. But this isn't the end just yet. You see, blessed is the one who hears the words of this prophecy. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the revelation of things to come. The world's greatest army will be led by 4 angels who are currently bound under the river Euphrates. They will raise this army of 200 million soldiers who will simply wipe out 1/3 of mankind. See, these fallen angels were held prisoner there for a terrible sin. So my question is, what did they even do? Well, once upon a time, there was a man named Noah. According to Genesis, he was the very last righteous man on earth. He lived in a time when the whole world had been corrupted. But that is not the full story. You see, there was a missing piece which explains how the fallen angels came down to earth and taught humans all kinds of evil and sin which ultimately had to get washed away. But it was those angels who were responsible for the entire thing. Okay. So, if we read the book of Enoch, we can actually find exactly what their punishments were for corrupting the world. But more specifically, we hear about this one angel named Azazel. You see, he taught humans how to make weapons and armor, ultimately teaching humanity war. Genesis even says that the whole world was full of violence. But this was all because of an angel. So God decides to bind Azazel hand and foot and then casts him under this desert named Dudael. What's very interesting is that Dudael is supposed to be east of Jerusalem. But conveniently, do you know what else is east of Jerusalem? The great river Euphrates, where according to the Bible, 4 angels are bound. Wow. See, the greatest army will be led by 4 fallen angels bound at the...
Okay, pause. Fun fact. The river Euphrates. My hand is shaking. The river Euphrates is currently drying up. Right now. Between the year now and 2020, there was a sea in the river of Euphrates. And now it's damn near dried up. That's some scary shit.
Euphrates. And I have a little hunch that at least one of their leaders will be the father of war himself, Azazel.
Wow.
The 2 greatest prophets will come when Jerusalem is given to the Gentiles. During this time, a man dressed in sackcloth will prophesy for 3 years. they will spread absolute chaos with their ministry fueled with miracles. See, the whole world will utterly hate these two, but the book of Revelation never reveals who they are. Now, what's very interesting is that there are only two people who were actually taken up to heaven. One person was Elijah, who ascended in a chariot of fire. His ministry was to rebuke a king and his false god. Now, the thing is, Elijah wasn't the first one to be taken up to heaven. The very first person who was taken up to heaven was actually Enoch. You see, Enoch walked with God, and then he was not.
Enoch,
because God took him. Now, in the actual story of Enoch, we hear of this mission where he has to deliver this message to the fallen angels. It was a message from God, pretty much telling them that they were going to hell. You see, both Enoch and Elijah had ministries where they literally stood up against the devil, but they were cut short after God took them up to heaven. And I wonder if they will come back as the two witnesses of the apocalypse.
oh, wow. Drop in the comments your thoughts. Drop in the comments after you do your own research. Do you believe that there's any truth to what I'm saying? Car Talk.